On this week's show, field hockey superstar Jill Bolton is back on the national stage. Plus, Flames football is getting some recognition as well.
Also, find out where former Flame Matt Hagan is managing these days. And we introduce you to the newest members of the men's basketball team. It's all coming on this Flames Central.
Just think of us as your summer sports fix. Welcome to Flame Central, your home for all things Liberty Athletics. Alongside Matt Warner repping the baby blue today, I'm Emily Austin.
Summer suit season, that's what this is. Well, there's not a whole lot on the sports calendar right now. You may have noticed that, but that's not going to stop us. We have some really great stories to share with you this week, and we have something for everyone as we dive into many sports across Liberty's campus, beginning with a huge honor for one field hockey star.
Yeah, Jill Bolton, ever heard of her? Probably, because we talk about her quite a bit on this show. Bolton has received countless awards for her talent on the turf, including being named the 2021 Field Hockey National Player of the Year, but none like being honored as the 2022 Honda Sport Award winner. Bolton is the first Liberty student athlete in school history to earn the Honda Sport Award, which is why she was invited to attend the 46th annual Collegiate Women's Sports Awards show in LA earlier this week. Bolton ended up finishing as a top 12 finalist for the Collegiate Woman Athlete of the Year, while South Carolina's Aaliyah Boston took the 2022 Honda Cup. Bolton shared more on her incredible achievements during the ceremony.
It's just an honor to represent Liberty University, not only as the only athlete, but just for Liberty Field Hockey as an 11-year young program. And to be the first Honda Sport Award winner is just such an honor, and I'm just so happy to represent Liberty and everything it's done for me. None of that would have been possible without my amazing teammates, my amazing coaches that poured into me day in and day out, that just shaped me into the player I was and just helped me become the best player I could be.
No one more deserving of that recognition than Jill Bolton, certainly. All right, we turn to football now. Liberty season doesn't begin until September 3rd, but the Flames are already garnering some attention. Bill Steele has been releasing his annual all-conference teams for the preseason, and 8 Flames landed on the all-independent team. 6 players made the first team, highlighted by wide receiver Demario Douglas, Liberty's leading receiver from a season ago with over 700 yards and 6 scores. Also on the first team, defensive end Trayshawn Clark, Liberty's most experienced D lineman, was second on the team a year ago with 10 tackles for loss. Take a look now at the entire list. Also making the first team, offensive lineman Brendan Schlittler, defensive tackle Kendi Charles, who I think is primed for a huge season, by the way. America's favorite long snapper Austin Mock makes the list, and newcomer Day Hunter hasn't played a snap yet for the Flames, but the former Hawaii running back gets some love. On the second team, 3 Flames are recognized. Grad transfer Caleb Sneed figures to be a big factor in the receiving corps. The general, Javon Scruggs, makes the list, and Demario Douglas, he's so good he gets on the list twice. A first-teamer as a receiver and a second-teamer as a punt returner. Well, if you want to see all these guys in action, you need to be in Williams Stadium this fall. Season tickets selling like hotcakes, and you know how those sell. It's the best home schedule in program history, with the Flames hosting the likes of Virginia Tech and BYU. Visit lufootball.com to get your tickets today.
Ooh, that has me fired up for some football, but we head to the Diamond for our next story. When it comes to baseball, Matt Hagan has pretty much done it all. The former Flame played and coached at both the collegiate and professional levels. In fact, he was part of that 2000 team, which was the first Liberty team in any sport to win an NCAA Division I tournament game. Today, he's finding success in his role at the AAA level. And along his journey, he's proving that he's much more than a manager.
Hey, nice job, one hand. Bill's got that backhand working today. That's going to be the one where the third baseman's in a shift. He's playing shortstop. You got to get all these by yourself. One of the things I try to pray for every morning is passion, and not just for the game, but for the people. And I think one of the things that's kept me around a long time is the people. I just keep coming back to be around these guys who are walking a line that I've had the opportunity to walk. And I can relate to them and their struggles on and off the field, and that's where my passion's at. Good decision, bad decision.
Matt Hagan has been around baseball for more than 30 years.
Just seen it in.
Hagan spent his college years playing at Liberty University before being drafted by the Seattle Mariners in 2002. He would go on to play in the minor leagues for a decade before seeing the game from a different outlook: coaching.
He's got to get 1 on 10 all the way turned up. Players tend to take things really serious. Suerte. And coaches just have a better perspective. You know, I remember, you know, if I went 0 for 4 in a game, it was like the sky was falling. Post-game, just racking your brain like, oh my gosh, I've had a terrible game. I got to make some crazy big adjustment, you know. And then as a coach, you go, okay, well, we play 150 games a year. I'm going to put the kid back in the lineup tomorrow. Today could be a terrible day. Tomorrow could be a great day. And just try to keep him from getting on that giant emotional roller coaster. And that's something that I've learned and we continue to learn.
And because of all he's learned from this game, it's made him a pretty good teacher. Today, as the manager of the AAA Round Rock Express, he's helping players get to the big leagues. And sometimes that's teaching them how to deal with the anxiety that baseball brings.
It's very real. And sometimes the separator between guys that have success in the minor leagues versus the major leagues is just how they handle that anxiety. Sometimes it's as simple as, you know, just some breathing routines, but a lot of times it's deeper. It's deeper. It's on a spiritual level for a lot of guys, and you have to just surrender the outcome. You know, God is in control. He's known the whole time whether I'm gonna finish as a minor league player, if I'm gonna play in the big leagues for 20 years, he knows. So when you surrender what that outcome's gonna be, in my opinion, it's very, very freeing.
And his players are taking notice.
Makes things that easier, you know? Being able to be in the locker room and be yourself, talk to your buddies, and some guys who have faith and some guys who don't, you can help them through times. And there's a lot of wisdom in the Bible and a lot of wisdom having great leadership around you like this. So having all that surrounding you is able to pour into other guys makes it awesome.
Being grounded in faith is essential for Hagan. But there's still plenty of adversity in the game of baseball. The pressure of winning, being on the road so often, making difficult decisions. Just some of the never-ending challenges in the game.
You know, baseball's been it's a microcosm of life. We talk about baseball as being the sport of failure, and, you know, we get our teeth kicked in a lot in baseball, and you just got to get yourself back up off the ground over and over and over, and I think that's the same thing in life. You know, it's how much of a beating can you take and still come back for more. In fact, I remember Dr. Falwell saying this, you know, the measure of a man is how much it takes to discourage him. So I think baseball's been a great platform for taking discouragement and then still getting up and coming back for more.
30 years in, and just one step away from managing in the majors. Leads to a question that Hagan hears quite a bit.
What's the next role for you, or where do you see yourself in baseball in, 5 years from now? And I'm very hesitant to answer that question because so many of those things are out of our control. One of the things I keep learning in this life is that God's timing is not our timing. His ways are not our ways. So whatever plan we have for ourselves, I think he laughs a lot of time and says, I'll let you know what the plan is. So I just try to be where my feet are at and try to invest every single day in who I have around me, and then let the chips fall where they may in terms of the future.
Matt, such a great trip out to Round Rock. You definitely missed out because that was a beautiful park, but something that didn't make the feature, Matt Hagan told me one of the best parts of managing at this level is he gets to tell his players, hey, you're going up to play in the big leagues. So cool to see him help the guys get there and then also impact them spiritually.
Yeah, I bet those are fun meetings. And at that level, everybody can play, right? Everybody's talented. So it's those little things that help guys so much, whether that's spiritually, mentally, on the field. And you can see why he's having so much success.
And Hagan might be going to the big league soon, too, so we'll have to keep up with that. All right, coming up, some new faces expect to make a major impact for Liberty basketball. We'll hear from them.
And the story of a Liberty tennis player who found something much greater than anything his sport could provide. That's all when Flames Central returns.
God's calling for your life can be specific. And at Liberty, we're committed to equipping you to pursue that calling. Choose from more than 300 residential programs of study, or design your own major through interdisciplinary studies, and be confident your major is the perfect fit. No matter how specific your calling, you'll find a program of study to match at Liberty University, and become your best as a champion for Christ.
Side, ain't looking for a free ride. Everybody wanna get some. I fight through the fight scum. Everybody go boom. Everybody go
boom. Hey, welcome back to the show. Liberty basketball had its string of 3 straight conference championships snapped this past season, but they figured to be the favorite in the ASUN once again this year. And this past week, they released their conference schedule for the 2022-23 campaign. First off, let's let this serve as a reminder that both Austin Peay and Queens are joining the ASUN this year. I always forget that. Flames actually play back-to-back games against Queens to end the season in a strange scheduling quirk. Other key matchups, how about opening the conference slate at Bellarmine, the team that ended Liberty's season last year. Also, Central Arkansas will make its first ever trip to Lynchburg on January 14th. Flames didn't lose much from last year's roster. That should be cause for concern around the ASUN. And even more troubling for Liberty opponents is what they added. Emily has more on Liberty's newest additions.
Basketball is back. Well, kind of. But hey, check this out. The Flames return all but 2 players from last season, including one of the nation's leading scorers in Darius McGee. Liberty also brings in a few new faces, which according to head coach Richie McKay,
what a fabulous group of young freshmen that we have. I think it's as good a class as we've signed.
That's a good sign, but as we all know, there are adjustments playing at the next level.
It's completely different, just in every aspect of it. But the main 2 things is the competitiveness and just the overall athletes here. In high school, you maybe have 1 or 2 of those on your team, but every single guy from top to bottom here is at that top level, so it's really a lot different competing that way.
All of us were kind of like, one of the go-to guys in high school. Now it's a completely new start. You're the low-ranked guy, and you're just trying to do something each day that can impress, but more importantly, it's not anything about individual awards or anything, so we just got to go out and just help the team win.
There's no doubt about competition being present at practice. But these older players also understand that to win, they need to guide these younger players too.
All the guys have been great. All the older guys, they're so giving. They don't get frustrated at you, and they want to make you better.
That's what I've already picked up on is from all the guys' standpoint, being like a family, that obviously everyone's competing to play in the fall and winter, but everyone is just on the same page, just trying to help each other get better. There's no jealousy or anything like that.
I think the chemistry that this team has already is really unique. Our guys have a selflessness about them that is uncommon. They really try and help the guy they're competing with get better.
And making mistakes is just part of the process of getting better. Learning a new system at the Division I level isn't easy and won't happen overnight, especially the pack line defense.
Yeah, I would say the coaches do a really good job of not putting everything on you at once. They don't get mad at you for making mistakes. We made plenty already. It's countless. It is hard, but all the guys and the coaches just being patient with the young guys, that makes it easy.
I would say the first week it was a little overwhelming just because we're all coming in. There's so many new things. The defense is different from our high school stuff. We just gotta learn the new things, but coaches do such a good job sitting you down, watching film from past years, and you just really pick it up fast.
When you just keep honoring the process and doing the best you can and giving your best, I think you got a chance to experience great growth and great success.
Looking forward to seeing how those guys develop and find their way on this team. All right, to the tennis courts. Christian Verse is a South African on the men's tennis team. He transferred to Liberty from Vanderbilt University. And like his tennis career, his spiritual journey has had quite the ups and downs. But it wasn't until God pursued him through an unlikely hobby, and that place wasn't on the courts.
tennis was the thing that brought me to God. God showed me, that was the very first thing. He showed me, listen, this is an idol. I grew up in South Africa, Pretoria, South Africa. I grew up playing all the sports, played cricket, rugby, tennis, athletics, everything.
And it would be tennis that would serve up a scholarship to Vanderbilt University in the States, an opportunity nearly 9,000 miles from home.
That was a big thing for me, to be far away from home, having to deal with stuff on my own, think for myself, kind of not be dependent on my parents. Tennis at Vanderbilt, the pressures of it, kind of everything is new. There's different stresses, there's language barriers I had to kind of cross, just coming at me all at once.
And off the court, his faith would be tested.
For me, it was a tough time, and with that, having people around me challenging my faith, like in a negative way, like kind of questioning, like, what do you really believe this? I mean, come on, it's a fantasy. And so I started to doubt, like, is this real? Have I been told a lie my entire life?
These doubts left Christian searching for answers.
I grew up in a Christian home. My dad used to always say, you know, there's a lot of people that go to church, but they don't have a real relationship with Jesus. And I was always religious. I went to church, and I never truly understood the gospel. I had no idea. There was no fruit. There was no real fruit. And I lived for myself, and I couldn't see that. Like the Word of God says, we're blinded, and until you're born again, you can't see the kingdom or enter the kingdom of God.
Christian felt isolated, and tennis wasn't filling the void within him.
I remember, like, I had to walk 5 minutes back to my dorm from the tennis courts every day, or after we ate dinner, I was listening to songs, and I would have tears in my eyes almost every day when I went back, just with everything going on. Waking up in the mornings feeling I'm not gonna make it through the day, and the tennis going up and down, and I don't know, you know, my identity was in the tennis.
But it was a trip back home to South Africa that would help reveal his true purpose.
I remember the first summer I went back, I really read a lot of books, and I've never read a book in my life, and I just read about 5 books. Mere Christianity was one of them, just a lot of basic gospel books, and so that was kind of the process of me, of God pursuing me. For the first time in my life, I understood the love of Jesus. I've always heard of Jesus loves you, and he's got a plan for you, and he's with you in tough times, but you can't really understand his love if you don't understand what it truly means, and that is we're separated from God, and he's come so that we can be in right relationship with him again.
The first 20 minutes or so will be some hitting.
Christian is now a Liberty Flame. After circumstances led him to seek a transfer from Vanderbilt, LU would turn out to be a great fit. Not only is Christian developing on the court, but he's also growing in his faith.
One thing I realized at Liberty, you can't walk the Christian life alone. If you're going to try and do it alone, the devil is roaring and seeking someone to devour. And you need community, and having that with the coaches and the team.
He focuses so much on his journey with God that it presents itself to everyone, and it honestly feels just light. It's so comfortable to be around because he always cares about other people.
He's definitely a character, like one of a kind, 100%. He makes us laugh all the time. I just found him hilarious straight away, and he really fits in like perfectly.
Christian is grateful for his new Liberty family, but also for the trials that have brought him this far.
That's the ultimate goal, is to become more like Jesus, and so now you can see sufferings. He's shaping you, he's refining you. It's easy to read that in your room, count it all joys when you face trials, but when you're actually out there facing them, that's when Jesus needs to become a reality for you.
And Christian's hope is that his testimony will inspire others to look to the one true Savior.
If people can see, like, wow, this guy's just not attached, but he's loving what he's doing, he's grateful for his God, and I'm so far from that. I'm really far from that, but I got a group of people around me that can push me in pursuing that.
Still to come, we go on the road with a former Flame turned MLB scout, and we bring home some hardware. That's when Flame Central returns.
What is your dream? Your calling? What's the path to get there? It might be clear, or you might still be figuring it out. But at Liberty University, we want to empower you through every chapter of your story. Here, you can discover not just how to do things, but why to do them. And you'll have opportunities to practice and excel across different fields. And that doesn't just end at the classroom door. Your strengths and interests can also fuel your calling, and they embody more than just the classes you choose. So at Liberty, you can train, perfect, find a team to call your own at every skill level. There's more to your story than just the destination. It's reinventing, discovering, finding you are not alone as you chase your dreams. And those dreams don't have to wait until someday. At Liberty, we unite through Christ to pursue things larger than ourselves, to make a difference in both our communities and world, because in Him, we are able. So, what is your calling? Liberty University can fuel that calling, and your outcome will change the world.
At the fence, leaping! Wow! To the 5, pylon, he's in!
Hey, welcome back to Flames Central. Earlier in the show, we brought you the story of former Flames baseball player Matt Hagan, who's now coaching in the minor leagues. Well, did you know there's another former Flame whose job is to help find and draft those players? His name is Matt Williams, and we caught up with him on the road.
Following his collegiate career at Liberty, Matt Williams spent 7 seasons working his way through professional baseball, even making it as high as AAA. But when it came time to hang up his spikes, the last thing he wanted to do was walk away from the game.
The area scout who signed me, he was with the Cardinals. His name was Matt Blood, and he worked for Team USA when I was kind of towards the end of my career. He asked if I had any interest in getting into scouting. So I was like, yeah, actually, I probably would. And he was like, well, come down to this tournament with me. And I think I emptied out all my airline miles I built up through minor leagues just to get down there and meet a couple people. And the Twins happened to be one of them. And it all just kind of worked out.
Matt would trade in his bat and glove for a radar gun and a notebook, as he's now an area scout for the Minnesota Twins, covering Alabama, Mississippi, and Tennessee, spending his days looking for the game's next star.
Obviously, you're looking at the physical tools and, do they fit their profile, whether it's corner, outfield, center field, shortstop, anything like that. But once you check all the physical stuff off, our job, at least mine as an area scout, is really kind of bear down on who they are as a person. I think that, you look all over this field and there's physical capabilities everywhere, but the guys that, ultimately make it are just wired the right way. And I think that's the most fun part of my job, is figuring out what makes some of these players tick. Do they possess what it takes to overcome adversity? Because once you get into pro ball, man, it's not as fun as sometimes it seems, and there's a lot of adversity to be dealt with, and can you handle failure the right way? And ultimately, that's what makes it
Being a scout, just like being a minor league ball player, means life on the road. For many, it can be a grind. For Matt, it's where he thrives.
It can be a grind if you let it. Anything can be a grind if you let it be that way, but I just really enjoy just being around baseball. So if you enjoy the game and you enjoy coming out here every day, you know, it kind of takes the grind part out of it. Like, yeah, the travel is tough, the time away from family is tough, but at the end of the day, I get to, you know, watch baseball and evaluate players for a living, and I couldn't be more excited to do it, honestly. Once I got into it, this is it. I absolutely love what I do.
From his time at Liberty,
Hot shot up the middle, base hit center field.
to his time in the minors, looking back, it's clear that each stop in Matt's baseball journey was preparing him for the role he finds himself in today.
Every step along the way just led to another step, and you know, one door closed, another one opens, whether it was playing and transitioning to scouting. You know, I truly believe everything happened for a reason, and some doors were opened that I didn't really see, you know, would actually happen, and they did, and now I just couldn't be more excited to be here.
That was a lot of fun catching up with Matt. All right, now to our lead story. We had told you a few weeks ago that Flame Central had a number of stories nominated for Emmy Awards, and guess who won? Emily won an Emmy for her story on Liberty soccer player Arnold Anyango. Congratulations.
I'm going to make you guys start calling me Emmy. But anyways, this is for the entire Flame Central crew, all the camera guys and everyone that helps. And, you know, our goal here at Flame Central is to glorify God, and that's exactly what Arnold's story does.
Yeah, we're all happy for you, even Rhett. All right, hey, we're about out of time. Check out the website, libertyflamecentral.com. Happy 4th of July. We'll see you back here next week.
Your future career will ask you to analyze, assess, implement, react, make smart decisions in a split second. With a Liberty University degree, you'll be ready because your first day on the equipment comes long before your first day on the job. Get ready to take on tomorrow, today.